Imagine spending millions of dollars designing a new processor. You manufacture the chip, you finally get the first silicon samples, and then you discover that the software cannot properly initialize the hardware. At this point, you cannot just open the source code and fix the circuit, and that's because the silicon has already been made, and that's one reason embedded engineers can become very important long before a chip ever reaches a factory. And this is because somebody has to start asking a very uncomfortable question early, and the question is, will the software actually work on this hardware? Here's the part that surprised me when I started looking deeper into this. A chip does not suddenly appear when the factory produces it. So long before the physical silicon exists, engineers already have the models of what the chip is supposed to do. And this means the processor architecture is defined, the registers are designed, memory maps are created, peripherals are specified, and the RTL describes how much of that hardware is actually going to behave. So even though there is no physical chip sitting on the engineer's desk yet, the software teams can start working with the representations of the hardware. And this is very important because you don't want to wait until the first silicon arrives before discovering that the boot sequence is not working. This is where the embedded engineer comes in. Think of what happens when a microcontroller powers up. Something has to happen before your application starts. The processor has to come out of reset, the boot process has to run, memory has to be initialized, clocks may need to be configured, peripherals have to be brought up, and eventually your operating system or application needs to take control. Now imagine you're developing a brand new processor. You don't have the physical board yet, but you still need to test the entire software flow, and that's where pre-silicon software development becomes important. Here, firmware engineers can work with hardware emulators, FPGA prototypes, virtual platforms, and other hardware models to begin developing and testing low-level software before the actual chip is available. Now let's take the bootloader as an example. A bootloader is not just some random piece of code that runs at startup. It sits extremely close to the hardware. It may initialize memory, configure clocks, set up security features, load firmware, select a boot mode, and eventually hand control to the operating system or application. Now imagine developing the boot software while the hardware is still changing. The register definitions may change, the memory map may change, a peripheral may behave differently than originally expected, a clock tree may be modified, even the way different blocks communicate can evolve during the process of development. And this is why the software and the hardware teams have to work together. The embedded engineers don't simply wait for the final chip. They are helping to expose problems while there is still time to do something about those particular problems. So what are engineers looking for exactly? Because a lot more than just whether the processor can execute an instruction, they can discover problems with register behavior, interrupts, memory access, peripheral initialization, DMA, boot sequences, power management, clock configuration, and communication between different hardware blocks. So eventually the day comes when the first physical silicon arrives, and this is where everything becomes real. The engineering team powers up the chip for the first time. So here the engineers, they load the early firmware, they connect debugging equipment, and then they start asking questions like, does the processor actually come out of reset? Does the memory work? Are the clocks behaving correctly? Can we communicate with the peripherals? Does the bootloader run? Does the operating system start? This phase is called the bring up phase, and this is one of the moments where embedded systems engineers are very important, and that's because now they are dealing with a real piece of silicon that can have real hardware bugs. So the next time you hear the word VLSI, don't only think about transistors and RTL. Think about what happens after those transistors are supposed to be a usable computer. This means someone has to bring the hardware to life, someone has to write the boot code, someone has to initialize the memory, someone has to write the driver, someone has to debug the first silicon, and someone has to figure out why the software doesn't behave the way the hardware team is expected. That person can be an embedded systems engineer, and that's the hidden role I think a lot of people overlook. And that's because the future of silicon is not just about designing better hardware, it is about making hardware and software work together. So here is a quick one, guys. If you want to teach yourself embedded systems, I have made a simple 6-month roadmap ebook that guides you from a complete beginner to building your own boards and firmware. And this book also tells you what to learn, in what order, and the links to the YouTube videos that will help you so you don't guess your next step. And if this is something you need, check the link in the description of this video or check the link in my bio to grab your copy.